Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I am Dr. Kelly Tanner. Today, I have with me Vanessa Emerson. I know that many people know Vanessa, and she is such a light in our industry.
Uh,
Vanessa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really been looking forward to spending time with you, Kelly.
Yes, you guys, I always love to tell stories. I was connected with Vanessa. I mean, gosh, I think that we decided that we probably ran into each other at some point. You guys know how those things are. We always talk about like bumping into shoulders at conferences. And then one of my friends, Allison Lecusier, said, "You've got to talk to Vanessa." And Vanessa and I just hit it off because I think we share a common interest of loving on people. We really do. So, Vanessa, the question that I always love to start with is tell us why dentistry and why it chose you. Sometimes it just chooses us. Why did it choose you?
Oh, 100% it chose me. Never in a million years would I have pictured I'd work in dentistry. I just was not even on my radar. You know, what happened for me was that I had worked in medical for many years and had been an office manager for a general surgeon. And when he retired for the second time, when he was near 70, because he retired once and he always liked to say his wife kicked him out of the kitchen and he went back to work. I was pretty sure he wasn't going to come back to work again, though if he were still, I'd be working with him because he's such an incredible, incredible man. But then I was looking for a job, and this was back in 2001. So over 20 years ago, back in the day when we still looked for jobs in the newspaper. And so I found an ad for someone seeking an office manager for a speaker and consultant in dentistry. And I had no idea what that meant. But I applied, and I was interviewing right then to be a practice manager for a surgical center. Which would have been in my same line of work. But the moment that Catherine Eitel Belt opened her door, I was like, there's something here for me. And the rest is history. I mean, she's incredible. I'm sure many of your listeners know our Catherine Eitel Belt. And I was honored to be able to work in her office for about a dozen years with her. And we still are close friends and do a lot together.
Oh, she's amazing. I have trained with her, and she is just an amazing communicator, connector, and can pull together the room in a moment. It's awesome to
Agreed.
experience her, right?
Agreed. I felt really honored, and I do feel like dentistry kind of chose me by connecting me with someone that I would have such a deep connection with to start with, that I thought, there's something here. I want to explore this more. And I'm so grateful because I think dentistry is where it's at. I often say that this is where it's at. This is where all the best stuff is going on. These are
I totally
the most
agree.
amazing people.
And you talk to so many people who are who've come from other industries and into dentistry, and they always say, once people come into dentistry, sales or corporate, they don't leave because it's such
No,
an amazing profession, and
it
just
really is.
the people who are here.
People. I agree. For me, it's really 100% the people, and their passion for helping their patients is just inspiring.
Yeah,
I
and
don't see that as much in medical. In my experience in medical, I just didn't see that as much, and so it's been cool.
yeah, it's the connection and how connected we are. I'm sure that medicine has its connections, but I feel like
Oh, sure.
we're such a tight-knit group in
Yeah.
dentistry. I mean, it's truly 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon within our industries, like someone that is gonna know at least 5 other people
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
But, so then you worked with Catherine, and then
I
tell us about
did.
your journey after that.
I did because a couple of years into it, we were finding success with her having more speaking engagements and also attracting more consulting clients. And I have to say a whole lot of that is because she's amazing. But we did figure out some things about the marketing, and so her colleagues took notice and asked, "Well, what are you guys doing?" And that's really how it all began. Is that I would hop? She asked me if I'd hop on the phone and explain to one at a time a couple of her colleagues, like, here's how you work with a meeting planner. Here's what we tried. Here's what we found worked. Here's what it looks like. And they all encouraged me, you really should coach. You should really create materials. You should. So like they were the wind beneath my wings. They really encouraged me, whereas I hadn't planned to be an entrepreneur. I had not planned to have a side gig, but started creating marketing materials for speakers is where it all began. And then shortly thereafter, we created a directory online. Oh my gosh, 20 years ago. It was so rudimentary. My husband's a creative mind, and he helped me come up with a name. It's going to be obvious, like that's the right name. But he said, well, right away, he said, what about Directory of Dental Speakers, DDS? And I'm like, yes, let's do
Oh,
that.
that's
So
good.
yeah. And so we had our directory for years, which became a bureau over time. And, it just kind of evolved into now I offer business advisory for speakers and consultants. We have our Speakers Institute, which is really a fellowship program. We have an annual meeting. We have lots of workshops throughout the year. It's really grown. So eventually, Catherine and my business became so busy and she had some different directions she was going in. My own personal belief is it all unfolds how it should. And so at the right time, we just decided, you know what, we're going to have to officially separate, but yet we still love so much. She's like a sister to me and do so much work together. So we just work differently.
Yeah. And isn't it wild too, how you're having these conversations and thinking back to when at the precipice of it, when everything changed for you and you went back to the beginning of your story and you said, people were just asking how I did things because
Yeah.
that knowledge, we don't realize how much we know. Right?
Right.
And
True.
then that became a course that you were giving one-on-one, essentially coaching, and then that turned into something else. So I always tell people, look to see what your zone of genius is and what you're really good at, because there's a lot of great potential there for you to develop some amazing things that people need.
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes we think, well, can I charge for this? Does it make sense? I mean, will anybody buy it? How do I monetize it? I think there's a lot of those little inner voices too. And for me, it always goes back to, I often say the best thing that our brain can do is pay attention to our gut. So as we're mulling over the decision, well, should I, what if I did create a course? What if I did start consulting? What if I did whatever it is? I think the best thing we can do is pay attention to how we feel in our gut. And if we get tingles, if we get excited, if we feel like, yes, I would say that that's a whispering of walk in that direction. This and something better will unfold. This or something better, I should say, will unfold. Walk in that direction. And you can't go wrong when you listen to your gut.
That is so, it always tells you before you even know, doesn't it?
Yeah. Nobody ever said, I listened to my gut and boy, was I sorry. Nobody's ever said that. And
It's true.
yeah.
That's why they call it the gut feeling.
Yeah.
Listen to it. And then so you went and I think that's funny, the DDS. That was a brilliant idea. I mean, it's
Wasn't that? I
so many
loved it.
different levels. Does that still exist?
No, I
was
still
just
own the
curious if it
domains
was still
though.
out there.
I'm not gonna let go of those domains. But what came from that was Dental Speakers Bureau for many years. And then now I folded the Bureau in with the Institute. So basically our members of our Institute are our Bureau members. And so they receive those benefits of having connections with meeting planners that are not otherwise available.
Wow, what a huge asset and value that
Yeah,
is.
that's fun. It's
So
cool.
tell us more about, because I'm asking and leading. I was getting ready to ask something that I want you to tell us about the Speaker Institute. What
Sure.
is the Speaker Institute? What do you do there and how do you help connect people?
The Speaker Institute, and maybe I could say too, I think this will help explain. So my business is the Dental Speaker, but ultimately at the core, as I was explaining, it all started with marketing. And the way I look at speaking and consulting is that speaking is one of the best activities you can do to be able to attract consulting clients. So really, in a lot of ways, speaking is a marketing activity. Though we are educating, we are marketing ourselves by being the expert at the front of the room. Like when you stand in front of a group, they see you as this expert, this influencer, the person who has the solution to their problems, right? So the whole idea, the premise of I should say premise, but like the objective with us in our business is to help speakers and consultants grow their businesses. And so one way is to get them in front of audiences so that they can be seen as that expert and deliver transformational education, to be able to really help shift understanding and to be able to help mold lives. It's really important what speakers do. So Dental Speaker Institute is a fellowship program. So at its core, really, Dental Speaker Institute is just the fellowship program that happens to have an annual meeting attached to it. But it's 150 credit hours with almost 20. Well, next year we'll have more than 20 speaker development experts in a wide range of topics that can help those who are not only speaking but consulting gain the skills they need to develop their content, to be able to be a better educator, presenter, trainer, and to also understand better how to grow their business, how to do this in a way where they can make really good money, where they can actually, many of the clients I work with transition out of dental practice that are clinicians that know they're getting to a point in their career where maybe their body's hurting, or they see that they're heading toward retirement, or they just want to work less hours or not work as hard there clinically. And so they'll start speaking and consulting as a way to have a transition plan for them eventually to come out of full-time practice or part-time practice eventually, but they don't have to leave the practice. But it's a pretty typical model. So Dental Speaker Institute and that fellowship program is I don't know of any other program like this where we have corralled, I guess you could say, all of these educators into one program. And so if you visit FDSI for fellowship, DSI, fdsicurriculum.com, it'll take you right to the webpage. There's a document you can pop open. And honestly, that's a great place to shop for workshops. If you're looking to have some additional help as a speaker or consultant, or you want to get started, it's a great place. I often think of that document as kind of like going to community college. You know how you can kind of pick a course here and there, but you don't really have to commit to the whole thing. I mean, certainly use it that way to be able to improve your education in certain areas. It's really my love offering to our industry. I don't really make money on that program, to be fully transparent. I have a couple of courses in it, but often I give them away or we do them for like a donation to charity. But really the faculty are just, they bring their courses. It's really more a way of organizing. It's like that idea of the directory before. It's a way of organizing it to make it easier for speakers and consultants to be able to see where they can get some additional help to be able to grow in their field. That was a long answer.
No, it wasn't. Not at all. It was comprehensive. It was amazing. So do you also prepare speakers for online as well as in person?
So to be able to educate virtually,
Mhm.
I find that we're doing less and less of that for meetings. So I imagine you're seeing that as well. I feels like so many of our meetings are going back to in person, though I don't think we'll ever get past having virtual workshops. And what I'm seeing with my clients, and certainly in my business as well, is like the small virtual workshop is so much stronger than it ever was before. I have 5 different workshops I offer right now throughout the year that are virtual, small groups. It makes it really easy as an educator to be able to nurture your existing community and to bring value to them. When we have a virtual workshop, there's no meeting costs, there's no travel costs. It's like a low commitment. We can get together for 3 hours or 2 days, but with some breaks in there. It's a really great way to be able to educate. So many of the concepts that they teach within our fellowship would apply. And we do have some courses that are specifically for the virtual. But I think it's interesting that it feels like we're doing less and less of that for our meetings, which is actually awesome.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, I've talked to other folks too, that thinks that, it's the other side where they're thinking that some of the person, face-to-face meetings are sort of going down and then virtual meetings are picking up. So it's interesting to hear perspective.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
But I think
interesting.
it's important to be prepared for both, because you really don't know what you're going to be asked to do. So it sounds like you're developing in both directions and offering that.
I would say we're offering less and less in virtual, though, honestly. I think like we had more courses in there before. I do have 1 or 2 in there now. I think part of that too is because if you're an established speaker, you probably have figured it out by now too, right? So it'd be more for the newer speakers. Yeah, it really is interesting. Here's what I would share as a planner myself, having been a planner for almost 20 years now of different meetings. There's so much that goes on in the background of that, and the expense is huge. Like I think most people don't understand all of those expenses. And so hybrid, this whole idea of having a virtual and an in-person, I feel really confident saying we're seeing a lot less of that, because it's almost like paying for 2 meetings. When you come down to your audiovisual costs, it's almost double.
Yes.
So I see very few of those. And I think that's a good thing too, personally.
Yeah. So when people when people come to your meetings and they have this experience with you, because I'm going to bring it back to you, and what are some major takeaways that kind of like, maybe if you qualify it as some things that people walk away and they say, I never knew that. Like, what are your top 3 things that people would talk about? Like, I never knew that, as it relates to like being a speaker or a meeting.
So we have so many different meetings. I'm in my mind I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on my most common workshop. Kind of the starting place is called Transform My Business, and it's usually people who are already at least have their toe in the pool. Like, they may not already be swimming as a speaker, but they're like, I think I want to be a speaker, and I want to figure out, is this for me? Can I make money? How does it all work? Or people who've been doing this for 30 years. And so from that, I think sometimes one of the big ahas really is that speaking is a marketing activity. I think people don't always think about it that way. And all the different strategies that you can utilize to be able to spin off leads from your meeting without marketing in the room, right? Because we can't do that with CE. There are definitely restrictions, but there are so many ways to generate leads. And opportunities to be able to use, to be able to capture email addresses. And it all goes back to nurturing and giving away content that they would have to email you for, or maybe have a drawing in the room or something where you capture emails. But so that's one big aha. What are 3?
Or even well, I know that you do so much, and so when people come to some of my core lectures, they'll walk away and say, Kelly, I really am going to go and do right away. Are there things, are there like key takeaways that people always tell you from your meetings, or something that's sort of common?
There are a lot, and there's so many strategies. I would say some of the things that I know that most people are looking for, maybe if I can approach it from that standpoint. When someone comes to me, typically they're looking to be able to book more speeches, because ultimately they can see that there is that connection to be able to book more coaching clients or sell more online education. And so one of the answers for that would be to develop out the right type of materials. And I do have a website with examples. Can I share that now?
Sure.
It's helpmegetbooked.com. Helpmegetbooked.com. Show examples of what a speaker packet is. I anticipate you've seen this, Kelly, that you don't get very far in the industry without a meeting planner saying, send me your packet. And I find often people will reach out to me because they're like, I don't know what this is that they're asking me for, because they're just getting started. It's definitely a term we use in the industry. So that's one really common way that people come to me. Another is that they're more experienced. They've been a speaker and consultant for some time, and they find that their business is not generating what it used to. And so frequently they're looking for ways to breathe new life in and understand everything keeps changing. It just keeps changing. And so we have to keep our finger on the pulse, and we have to look at our processes and our procedures and our strategies to make sure that we're really still serving people where they want to be served. And so that's a piece of it. I find that some of the speakers I've worked with, you would recognize their names as being in the industry for maybe 20 to 30 years, but they're finding that what used to work didn't work as well to get booked or to attract consultants. And so that's another piece of it, is like, well, what do I need to do now?
Right.
How can I modify my approach?
That's important to look and say what isn't working and what could work better. That's to be able to pivot and to grow on that.
Really the focus of my business is business advisory. If we were going to boil it down, we have group coaching. We have a lot of different ways of one-on-one coaching. I help people with building out curriculums or, symposiums or workshops, or so many different ways that we can provide guidance. And so when they come looking for what's new and different, what should I be changing? What should I be modifying? There are so many. Basically, we would look at what have they been doing and provide input on what are we seeing there be success right now, what's happening right now that people are being successful with.
What's your favorite part of how you help people?
Getting to know them. That's a super easy answer for me. It really is the time we spend together. I just truly feel that they're the most amazing people in this industry. And I know you and I share some similar like philosophical beliefs. And we just had my group coaching call this morning. We were just talking about this whole idea of attracting more of the right, or I'd say ideal fit clients, more of the ideal fit. And for me, the way I do that is to breathe gratitude daily about, I'm so grateful I get to work with this person and people like this person. I just keep, because I just love the people I work with. And what I find is by being grateful and really concentrating on the wonderfulness of that, I just more and more of that is coming. That's kind of like basic law of attraction stuff, right? But it's like basically for me, the big thing I love the most is just that I know that every day when I have my chance to go to work in the other part of the house, that I'm going to be able to spend the day working with people and helping them achieve their goals. And they're just people that are so amazing. They're people that give you grace, like they don't expect perfection and vice versa, right? They're people that really want to serve at a high level. To me, that's important, to have a servant heart, somebody who cares and loves others. And there's so much of that out there. And they're people that just, it fills your buckets to spend time with them. So yeah.
Yeah, the people. You're like the people.
People.
And
It really is.
you're so right that, whatever we've had this discussion before, as all of my listeners probably know, my feelings on this, of the gratitude journaling, and we attract who we are. And that's what Vanessa is talking about. And people will say to me, are you for real? Like, does that really work? And it really
1000%.
works. It's like it. So like if you say something you're grateful for, it attracts what you could be more grateful for. And if you're attracting drama, or it just, if you're being dramatic, then it attracts more drama
Yeah,
and more things to be concerned and worried about. Would you agree with that, Vanessa?
100%. Is it okay if we talk about meditation?
I would love it.
Because like this is all like business stuff we've been talking about. But like what I'm most passionate about are things like health and meditation. And so for me, in my meditation, as I meditate daily for at least 15 minutes in the morning and then again at night, I have a ritual that helps me calm down from my day, or like you're coming up in the morning, sets a tone for your morning. And one piece of that is that I go through, I would say mantras, but it's really things like, it reminds me, I'll say mentally, today I will be happy, joyful, kind. Today I will be grateful. And as I say those, I have these different things that I say as I'm just concentrating on my breathing. It helps me it gets you in this energy. It gets you in this place where you're in your heart. And so where I think today I will be grateful. I start with like the room I'm in and the cats in the house and the people in the house. And like I spread outward, and I think it just sets us up. There's truly something about like attracts like, and I don't know how to explain the way it works. But we were talking today in our group coaching call about closing the sale. And I was saying that for me, it's all about mindset. And before you even hop on a Zoom call with a potential client, if you can the best thing you can do is, again, to turn your attention down to your heart, focus on your breathing, like get yourself in this place of gratitude and service and love. And say something to yourself like, if this is the right fit. So it's not like if it's in service to them, it's not like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I'm not going to be able to pay the rent. It's more of, if this is a good fit for them, and for me, it will unfold. And I think that whatever language people use, whatever philosophical or spiritual, approach they would like to take with this, it's this idea of the very best thing we can do with our mind is to turn it to how we feel. And that will guide us on what we put in our mind, right? So if I'm feeling anxious, It tells me, okay, Vanessa, stop and focus on your breathing and like calm that anxiety down. The key is, Kelly, we are in control. We think we're not. We think that all this other stuff is happening to us. And it's maybe it's happening, but it's like how we respond is totally within our control. So gratitude, love, kindness, allowing, giving grace. These are like kindergarten principles. Really? Like things we learned when we were kids that we forget because we get caught up and we're running businesses and we got to make payroll and the patients are canceling and like whatever, the things that are happening. If we can get back to those basics, I think that solves all the problems. I 100% do.
Is it that easy? People will say, is it just that easy? And it's like, try it for yourself. You have to do it. You don't know.
It's simple, but it's not easy. How about that? I mean, it's simple, but what it is like habits. For me, it's habits. Like I know I don't want to eat after a certain period of night because I know my digestion slows down. I know I'm going to bed soon. I know that will put on extra weight, but the habit is reach for something. So that's the part that's maybe the hard work, but it's more, I think for me, it's more about setting the intention, like what do we want in our life? What do we want from our businesses? And are we willing to hold ourselves accountable to performing these certain actions that we know others have performed to be able to, like, for instance, start speaking on the circuit because I know that will bring me more consulting clients. Or I know, like, stop eating after 4 o'clock at night because you're going to bed at 8. And you don't want the extra weight. I think it's that simple, but I don't think it's always easy.
And you have to create an environment that makes the action easy for you to make it a habit, because it's that you've got to, if you're trying to change something, you got to make it easy for yourself to take that first step in that direction.
Amen.
Yeah. And it's so, And so first thing is to get clear on what you want, and then to figure out how, what it is you're going to do, what it is you want to do. And then those next little baby steps on how you're going to get there, and just chunk it down like habit by habit. And then you feel successful because it's that movement. It's that forward momentum.
Isn't it just like stopping too? Like when you recognize I'm out of balance, it's like, because I find myself like, okay, well, I've got to finish this email first. And I've got to do, like, if I would just stop and take that moment to either journal or like look at our list of what we said we want to do, or meditate, or however we can. I anticipate all of your listeners would know what works for them. Like in the past, what has helped them like get back to balance. If we would just recognize, like, it's an internal GPS. We're just going to talk about our gut this whole time, apparently. It's like, but there's this internal GPS that lets us know how we're doing. So if we would just remind ourselves that the most important thing I can do there is when it's signifying to me that I'm starting to head out of balance, right now it's time to stop and get back to my basics that I've outlined over here I want. We're in control. You can have the life of your dreams.
Exactly right. Yeah. You're always at choice.
Yes.
For that.
Yeah. So, that's wonderful.
I know, Vanessa, you know that you and I could talk about this for 3 hours. Like, you guys, this is what we talked about one of the first times that we connected. And that's, I think, a lot of our likeness and similarities, other than love and dentistry and speaking and people and all the other things that we're similar on. But if people wanted more of you, how would they get in touch with you?
Oh, thank you. info@thedentalspeaker.com. If they visit our main website, thedentalspeaker.com, you would be able to find Dental Speaker Institute, where these are my old banners because my new one actually unraveled. But Weevolution is our new annual meeting. It's actually happening in May, early May of 2023. But everything's through the Dental Speaker. You'd be able to find access to all of what we do.
Thank you for how you are empowering the industry to empower. And it's like that ripple effect of what you're doing and how you're connecting and contributing to the goodness in the world, Vanessa, truly.
Thank you. Thank you. And likewise, thank you for being such a bright light. And thank you so much for having me. It was really fun to be here with you.
I know, I can't wait. Well, it's my pleasure. It's my honor. And I can't wait to see you in person again. I'm not sure when that is, but for all of our listeners, go visit the show notes, get in touch with Vanessa. And to close us out, thank you for everything that everyone is doing who is listening. I know that I have an amazing community of listeners. And if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, going to Apple and rating us 5 stars on Apple, please. And then also too on YouTube. The Dental Handoff is on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends who you love. And have a great weekend, everyone. Keep doing great things. Vanessa, thank you again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was great to be here.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.